What's up, everybody? After nearly a year away from Disney Plus shows, Kevin Feige and Marvel returned to the platform with their spy thriller Secret Invasion. Now, I want to make something clear. As someone who loves the comic run and how it's been portrayed in some of the animated shows, this is a very different take on the concept. It's much more of a grounded approach to the concept, which to kind of define or make a comparison, think of Matt Reeves' Batman versus Andy Muschietti's Batman in The Flash. This is more Matt Reeves, which, not in my opinion, it was confirmed, not in those words, obviously, by the director Elise Salim in an interview with Beyond the Trailer that this was the case. Now, I know some get upset by this, however, in my opinion, the MCU isn't in a state to do a robust Secret Invasion, so scaling it down and giving us an intricate dive into Nicholas J. Fury is a really inviting concept to me. Now, with that out of the way, this is going to be your one and only spoiler warning. If you've not seen episode 1 yet, leave a like on the video or subscribe to the channel so you can make your way back into the Nerdverse once you have. Now let's get into it. I gotta be honest, I love this premiere. I think it sets up everything this show needs to be in a thriller that leaves you questioning not only who's a Skrull and who's not, but also who's on whose side. But let's get into the specifics, starting with the opening sequence. This in and of itself was as thrilling as we start in Moscow with Everett Ross meeting Agent Prescott. Prescott is onto the Skrulls and starting to put things together, demanding that Fury be called back to Earth to help them handle the rising threat. But just as they're about to go their separate ways, Prescott senses something off about Ross as he tackles him, only to be shot, and just as we think it's going to be revealed that he's a Skrull, he's not, and Ross calls it an evac and a panicked escape. There's a dark figure chasing after Ross, and as he gets pinned in a corner on a rooftop, he tries to jump across to another rooftop, but slips and can't get a grip as he plummets to what will be his demise. But as he hits the ground, Maria Hill pulls up to extract him, only for the man chasing him to come out of the building and reveal himself as Talos. Ross was a Skrull, and who knows for how long he's been a Skrull, but oh boy, that could be a big mess. I thought this was a really great opening sequence that was not only thrilling, but like I said, sets the tone for the episode and hopefully the whole show right out of the gate. After the opening credits, we see Fury returning to Earth from the Saber space station he's assembling for the President. Maria takes him to Talos, and the two have a pretty emotional reunion as we find out that Talos' wife, Soren, has died. Not only that, but his daughter Gaia has abandoned him, and Gravik, another Skrull, has kicked him off the Council of Skrulls on Earth and has malicious intent. We get just one quick scene with Rhodey and the President, but in my opinion it was very telling, as I think President Ritson is a Skrull, and that means Gravik's group has truly invaded the highest levels of government across the world. Ritson sends Rhodey to go get Fury and Hill, as they've both been labeled AWOL after Fury abandoned his post on the Saber Station and Maria went dark in Russia. As Nick Fury walks through the streets of Russia, he gets bagged and taken as we're introduced to our new character, Sonya, who's an old companion of Fury and MI6. She notes that Fury's lost a step since a blip, and that does kind of show as the episode goes on, but he's still got some of his old skills as he plants a bug on the eye of her owl statue while they're chatting. However, I think the good old Nicholas J. Fury may get back into his groove as the show goes on. Now let's get into the relationship between Talos and his daughter, Gaia, because it was pretty bittersweet in this episode. She's gone to pick up bombs for Gravik, and Talos, Fury, and Maria are watching them because MI6 is watching them too. While Fury and Talos are meeting with the Skrull who gave Gaia the bombs, Maria spots her and begins pursuing her. But Talos is tied up fighting one of his fellow Skrulls as it starts to look like he's lost a step, just like Fury, as he's aged. While that's going on, Maria tracks Gaia down into the train tunnel only to be jumped because she's accustomed to moving in the shadows and knowing when she's being followed, as most Skrulls must be right now. Talos catches up to them and chases his daughter, but he doesn't know it's his daughter just yet. This is when we get the first of many emotional scenes as Talos doesn't hesitate to bring up what her mother would think of what she's doing with Gravik. Gaia meets us with a snarky response which leads Talos to tell her that her mother is dead and it's the rebels that killed her. This clearly struck Gaia in the heart, but only momentarily as she continued on, bringing the bombs to New Skrullos. This is where the Skrull Rebellion is located, and where they seemingly have prisoners, which are the humans who they're taking the form of. I'm not sure if they're alive or dead, it wasn't made clear, but we'll likely see later on in the season. We then see an elderly lady get into a cab, and then when that cab pulls into an alley, Talos and Gaia depart from it. It seems as if Gaia is coming to Talos' side, but that also seems to be contradicted in the end of the episode, which we'll talk about in just a minute. The two have a pretty emotional scene together as Talos tells her that her mom would be proud of her for doing the right thing, and they go their separate ways. Alright, before we go over the thrilling ending of episode 1, I wanted to give a special shout out to what I thought were the best performances in the episode. Ben Mendelsohn is at the top of this list. He didn't miss a beat, returning to the role of Talos for the first true time since Captain Marvel. Him and Emilia Clarke had great chemistry, and I can't wait to see the future interactions between Talos and Gaia. Then there's Richard Dormer, who portrayed Agent Prescott in the opening sequence. He was really good. He reminded me of Charlie from It's Always Sunny when he's in the mailroom going crazy, only in a non-comedic, chilling fashion. I'm kinda sad we won't be seeing any more of Prescott too. And finally, the composer, Chris Bowers. The score on episode 1 was phenomenal, and especially during the chase scenes. It truly completed them and got your blood flowing with that umph behind the beat. Okay, now let's go over the end of the episode. This went from 0 to 100 in the blink of an eye. So as I was saying when we were talking about Talos and Gaia, she was gathering bombs for the next attack by the rebellion, which was taking place the day after all the events of the episode. She said she would mark the bags the bombs were in with infrared spray, and she does, but then the trio loses the bags as they switch couriers, sending them into a frenzy. Fury takes one, and Maria and Talos take the other two. As Fury is trying to find one, though, he sees the same demonic little child staring into his soul as he did on his walk earlier in the episode. He follows her, assuming she's a Skrull, only for it to be revealed she is, and she's none other than Gravik, and he's just distracting Fury. Maria Hill called out Fury earlier in the episode, same as Sonya, telling him he'd lost his step, only Hill suggests maybe it's time for him to hang it up because he's going to cost someone their life. And well, it seems that Maria Hill predicted the future because while he's distracted by Gravik, the bombs go off because the bags that Gaia marked were decoys. But that's not the life that Fury's slowed sense would cost. Gravik dashes away from him during the explosion only to appear in front of Maria in the form of Nick Fury and shoot her in the stomach. My jaw dropped when this happened, and a part of me is like, well, this is the chick that was involved in faking Fury's death in Winter Soldier, but also it was a pretty convincing death. Either way, I thought this was a fantastic way to end the episode and set the stakes of the show. It's almost overwhelming how much distrust I have for all these characters after just one episode, but that is the point of the show after all, so I guess they did a damn good job. I'm personally really satisfied with that premiere of Secret Invasion, but as always, I want to know what you guys thought about the episode, so go ahead and let me know down in the comments below and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of my coverage of the rest of the season, and make sure you have a great day.